Yo, what's up guys? It's Talon here. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at how you can improve your solo cash grip performance by analyzing how TT9 Chico won both opens and second round of the most recent solo cash cup. But before I get into this video, guys, if you do enjoy my content or find what I'm telling you helpful, please drop a like in this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. Also, if you wish to support me in another way, use code Talon.fm in the Fortnite item shop, #ad. Without further ado, let's just jump right in. Alright guys, as you can see on the screen, we have Chico's POV. Now Chico is a EU pro, and he actually is one of the few people in recent memory to win both first place in the opens round as well as first place in round number 2. And this is going to be a VOD review of all his games in round 2, so incredibly stacked lobbies, and it's going to be pretty obvious what the meta is. Now you're sitting here kind of on edge zone in 5th. He gets a very important refresh and is going to use his grappler. Wow, unfortunate for Pink right there, but he's going to use this grappler to get this important refresh, and this is going to set him up for the rest of the game. He's going to get a refresh on mats. Look at all those mats he got from Pink, and then he's also going to get a refresh in terms of grappler charges, which again is going to be the most important thing, pretty obviously, with it being the only movement. Now this is pre-combat vaulting and surge nerfs, so things might be a little bit different for the most forthcoming solo cash up coming up. And look, he gets a max pull on 5th, and this grappler is going to take him all the way from back to front and get him even up the mountain. He plays it incredibly well with that long swing. That is probably the most optimal way to use the grappler. Now you may get shot, sure, but look how completely worth it is. And notice he sits front side, looks for picks. He's going to wait and let that zone come towards him. And this is going to allow him again to wait, get as much placement as possible, see if he can get any picks or refreshes, see someone on the backside, and he goes, hey, okay, I didn't get anything out of it. And look, one grappler, so 2 grapples, and he goes from a max pull up a hill. Incredible use of the grappler, and just kind of shows how broken and overpowered it was. And it's going to be as long as it's still in this game, in the season. Now he's doing a good job here being active, looking for high ground. He gets a little bit of chip damage. He may have wanted to make a play there if he got more damage, but he realizes it goes downhill. Now again, if you get shut out with the grapple, just make sure to kind of calm, steady yourself. Now this is fortunate. He gets fried from the person that kind of third party and helped him there. That person stole his wall instantaneously. But he still has grappler, so he can be calm. He's sitting there looking, planning his rotate before he goes. Long swing, and he gets immediately to front side. And now he's sitting here looking for any way he can get picks on people coming into him. This is the best portion of the grappler. Now the opponent steals his wall first try. Does a good job of kind of getting out of it, and he decides to use it again. He wants to play even lower layer as the zone continues to pull forward. And this is why, as soon as he gets in, he's always looking for refresh opportunities, incredibly being active. Even though he's not really forcing anything, he's always looking, trying to find something. He sees this person gets cracked, and that's what being active for you can do. Now, this stair peek, I've talked about it with Dubs, who does this a lot. A lot of tier 1 pros do this to get information as well as being protected as people coming in. And this is perfect use of the grapple. You see here, he's peeking. He can kind of see he's protected with this ramp, but he can kind of see who's coming in, and he sees that opponent get cracked. And then he gets an easy refresh. He's going to also get, I believe... No, he doesn't go for it. I think he saw it too late there. But he could have also gone for a recharge on his grapple. He gets another max pull. But again, gets to front side. He's going to kind of do the same thing. He's going to create 2 boxes for additional peaks. That is one thing I'm also going to talk about. He plays some of the best peaks that I've really ever seen with someone in their box just editing their own floor tiles for peaks. He does this throughout this VOD review, and it's not something I've seen incredibly common, but he makes it work very, very well. He gets his first elimination like that. He waits till backside, and he goes, I don't want to get all the way up. I want to just stay where I'm at. And same thing, immediately looking back. And again, like I said, this is pre-combat. You can replace it with a stinger if you want. It's really no different. Just a little bit higher fire rate and a little bit more damage. And he continues to just keep kind of jumping to front side. Good use of the slide mechanic as well. Now with only 130 mats, he really can't play for high ground here. He's going to kind of try, hopefully, to milk out his placement as much as he can. Gets a huge crack onto high ground. Now he does have 6 armored walls. And then unfortunately gets taken out because the zone pulls back up. But a top 4, really, really good use. Now we're a little bit more established here than we were in previous games, but still not looking the greatest. Only 5 charges on the grappler. We don't really get to see how important it is. Already using half the charges just to get into first moving. And we have another long pull. And look at that nice long swing. He lets him take it out, and he goes immediately from back to front. He's done a good amount of surge, but he's obviously going to need a refresh. Look, constantly looking for information, seeing what he can find, seeing if there's anybody he can pick on the backside of zone. Again, a grappler allowing him to get ahead. Now the Fortnite servers, all these things were nerfed because of how poor they are. You can see kind of still a little bit shoddy. Nice little slide off top, and look at that. 2 grapples in right immediately. Again, if he has to full tarp that, he runs out of mats. Looking back, trying to pressure, opponents coming in, kind of the same story, and you're kind of seeing the meta is really, it's just this. No wonder he won opens and finals by simply just abusing this very simple strategy of grappling ahead. He gets another max full, and now he gets shot here. Things can get a little bit shoddy, but it's still not even that big of a deal. Look at this peek he does constantly. Man, such a good attempt. It's kind of sneaky too, and it's really hard to predict. Decides to leave it. Now he's going to get front side again. Same thing over and over and over. This opponent kind of just comes right in front of his wall, and you can kind of see the advantage of playing ahead with this grappler. People got to come into you. Now this opponent has kind of scuffed himself, and he hits a nice little one pump, gets some siphon mats on a shambles opponent. He has one more grapple. I like him using constantly just peeking so he can find the best optimal way to use that grappler. If you do it on low ground, it really isn't optimal. But you can tell he's put a lot of practice and time in with using that grapple for the maximum effectiveness. Now, I bet he wished he had a combat or just an SMG. It's really hard to get finishes here. Gets a nice little crack, and then he's going to immediately jump on that refresh and get an SMG, obviously. Especially with how strong the combat was. Really using a good job of the mechanics, getting ahead still, even without the grappler, still doing a good job of getting ahead and cutting off opponents. Look at that. He's going to get a crack onto another opponent, and he's going to get a finish. Going to go up here, wait till he has tack sprint, doing a good job of covering his head as well. I like him covering off of these angles. He could suffocate anybody that's trying to come below him. Now, unfortunately, he didn't catch that. Opponent's timing too well. Opponent goes up, and he decides to leave it. Only 8 builds, though. So he's trying to just milk as much placement as he can. Now he gets looked at from height. Does a good job of using the armored wall. And look at this peek again. I'm talking about it. Just constantly looking for it. It gives him so much sight line. Unfortunate. I like he goes nah every time. It was a very good play to go for height. He can milk probably at least a top 2 if he gets that elimination, but doesn't work out, but you'll still take another top 5. Now, this is probably the most set up we've seen him. A free pick on backside as well. Look at that again, using the grappler again for refresh and mats, kind of like a harpoon. Very, very important. Look at that, he's going to cap back out on his metal. Oh man, and now he's going to get even more of a refresh as well. And then again, tell him to take SMG, which I'm not sure he does. He doesn't. Actually want to still playing the AUG. Kind of the same thing too, waiting. Zone's almost all at his back. He gets a nice clear path. And he's going to decide to play front side. I like him not going all the way to the ground there. There's an opponent already there. And again, you can't really use your grappler as well. Has so many materials, and this grappler is just going to allow him to stretch and sit there. He's waiting. It's just the same thing back, forth, over again. See, with how many layers there are, especially in these stack lobbies, it is kind of difficult to maximize the grappler's effectiveness, but he does a good job. Look at that. Very interesting. Way to rotate the stairs for a nice protected peek on this person on low ground. With 5-300, I'm surprised he's being aggressive as he is, but I also like the fact he's always active looking for things. He's not trying to force anything, but he's always looking for plays, looking for refreshes, editing things constantly, looking for angles. He's now on front side again, ultimate low. And now he can suffocate and choke off anybody that's on backside having to build, not because they don't have grappler. And he's just sitting here waiting. Now zone's at his back. He actually uses the cactus here. Now he realizes this rock is kind of in his way, so he uses a little bit more mats to tarp here instead of using the grappler. But it also gives him a little bit of coverage. It's a pretty scuffed kind of lair, and so he's just doing a good job of navigating it. Still getting to front side, still basic Fortnite fundamentals, playing that front side very, very well. Cutting off opponents, good attempt. He cut someone off, see? He cut the two people from him and then cut off that person on the far right. Got a wall on him, just couldn't hit the shot. Look again, this peak coming through with the edited floor. Now he's going to do it again here, I believe, on his own floor. I'm not sure who's coaching him in the call. I do not speak whatever language they are speaking. Now he's got to be pretty worried, yep, that he's going to get looked at with wood on that lair. But again, still staying ahead. With 12 builds, he's got to be looking for a refresh. Same thing, same type of peak. Trying to get information through that ramp. Someone takes his wall backside, he backs out. Decides to get up and out. 32. Like the decision to leave it. He doesn't really have the builds to hold too much. And he can't really take height, so I think the person, whoever he's talking to him, to not worry about height because he only has one build. Look at this. This peak is going to win him this game. Crack, fantastic. Gets a kill onto Snazy. And then unfortunately gets a Shambles player behind him. And look at the refresh he gets from those two people, as well as getting grappler if he wants it. And it's all because of that very unique floor peak. This is going to allow him to easily win the game, I believe, just because he's going to have more mats than anybody in the lobby. Once that opponent gets taken out. He gets even more wood from that opponent getting eliminated or from actually running over the mats. I think he's just telling him to basically push height, you have more mats, which he does have 600. And he's very patient, but you see how active he is looking for any types of peaks or picks? He's not just content to sit in the box. It's a 1v1v1. I think he just told him to take height. And I believe he knew height was Shambles. And then look at that, free Tate on height, and then he gets a kill onto 0 without Chapix. Great job of frying this opponent, and now he can use the rest of his materials. I believe he has 4 splashes, so he can sit and storm and look for particular angles, cracks, and then exactly he's going to take, and you see the opponent trying to use the grappler who has no mats. Really good use. And again, the most important thing about that end game is once he was very patient, he waited for the right opportunity to take height. He was pretty sure that height had very little to no materials, and then right there does a good job. Once he takes height, not afraid to take storm with splashes to get better angles. All the pros do that in almost all metas. If you have whites, you want to take that zone to get that forward angle and then get a free elimination on the low ground opponent who has no materials. And as you've seen thus far, this grappler is incredibly broken. It just gives you so much flexibility in your game plan, and Chico's exploiting that perfectly. Now, full cap mats here, this is probably the best we've seen him in the start. Got about a half first moving zone pool, 40 people in zone as well. You can see all the people just on the visual sound. Now, this game a little bit scary with Surge, 49 below, but he does have splashes and minis, so he probably can out-heal it. And look at the long swing right here. If you want to watch a great video on how to really use this grappler, Destiny Jesus did a great, I believe, Vino VOD review that kind of explained how to use the grappler to its maximum effects. Now does a great job of realizing that opponent's gotten in. The servers are very bad. And he doesn't need to fight, right? He's like 4-4-1 in terms of mats. He has grappler. Look how just laggy and horrible the servers are. But he does need Surge. He's on the way to backside. Now this is where you can kind of get in trouble. He has to use more of his mats than he probably would have liked. Good use of the armored wall on the person trying to hold him. He's barely just above Surge. And now he can go from back to front right here. Great job getting to a nice clean layer. Now he's going to sit back and probably wait and look. And as you can see, the higher like elevation layers make the grapple so much more effective. You can get those long, big swings other than when you're suffocated on the lower portion of the map. When they, especially in these stacked lobbies again. Oop, get the front side, still elevation. This is so good right here. The opponent had no idea to execute that. Is really difficult angle. This is a left-hand peek too, but it's just so unexpected. Does it, takes it first try. Look at this, very jump down. Once he gets some chip damage, the fact that he was able to hit that shot is very impressive, but this angle is so dirty. It's so hard to predict and see. I'm assuming he has no idea. His opponent's sitting there in build mode. He doesn't even realize that he's taking his wall. Look how important that was, and unfortunately wasn't able to really get any of it, I believe, just because he's getting pressured. But he sits there, wait till backside again. Same type, just, you know, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. I'm gonna sit on backside. Doesn't even really need it. Decides not to go for it. Good slide. And then again, the same thing with this ramp peak. This ramp peak, I believe, is going to grant him high ground or an elimination. No, it grants him an elimination. Now he fries. And then someone else joins him on shooting him out on height. And unfortunate for him, gets one splash out of that. Now decides not to go for height because he got all of the mats. He realized he can take it later if he wants. He gets for front side ahead. He doesn't get that elimination, but he does get that one.
Nice, Chico.
Doing a great job again. Just rinse and repeat. Sit here, wait, playing out the rotate, look for what he can grapple off of. And then he's instead, nah, I have 700 mats, I'm going to go for height. Now scuffs a little bit mechanically there. And he's telling him to play his mats, I believe, because he's still got 600. So he goes, no, I'm not going to look for it. Takes a little bit of damage, but still gets to front side, even with the grapple. Now he's getting focused from both low and height, so he cuts off at least one angle with the armored wall. Now, unfortunately, he just gets dropped here and gets put into kind of... Gets to low ground, decide to play that. That's going to probably be his most successful chance. But he's already pretty much won this cash cup. I don't know what that was. He gets out of that with a good backwards ramp to protect his angle. He's basically with... He can't tank any storm. And then he gets shot in the back. He milks it into a top 5, 132, and a very convincing win in the EU Solo Cash Cup. And basically all it was, playing grapple, getting ahead and staying up once he was on those elevated layers, getting ahead, and then he had very nice floor peaks. He had the backwards ramp for information for important refreshes. We saw him use that twice, and we saw the very important looking at low ground, low peaks in his own box, because it is very difficult to predict, as you saw him catch multiple opponents off guard, including the game which gave him the refresh to take high ground. I believe the only really mistake he made was not full committing to that high ground with 700 materials. Unfortunately, he tried to grapple play ahead and he got focused from low and high at the same time. Burned all his mats, but he still got a top 5 and easily won. Even without that last game, he would have won. I believe he won by at least 20. Let's actually look and see how much he won by, because he does put the leaderboard up at the end. Yeah, he won by a convincing 21 points, so didn't even really need that last game at that current moment. So an impressive performance from Chico, and obviously the meta is grapple. But guys, that is going to do it for today's VOD review. I hope that you did enjoy. If you did, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. And I hope I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.